Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're tuning in, because today we're setting the stage to demystify the mechanics of the world's largest democracy. We're going to look at how decisions are actually made, not just up in massive parliament buildings, but right down at the local level where it impacts our daily lives the most.
All right, let's just jump right in. Imagine for a second a totally chaotic street or a community with zero rules. If no one followed traffic lights or if schools didn't have basic guidelines, society simply wouldn't function. This really highlights why we fundamentally need governance to maintain order and harmony. It's basically the process of organizing a society's life so that everyone can actually thrive.
Now, to avoid getting totally overwhelmed by massive civic structures, here's our roadmap for today. We're breaking this giant concept into 5 manageable steps: governance and its levels, the Panchayati Raj system, a look inside the Grampanchayat, some truly inspiring grassroots leaders, and finally, empowering the next generation. Let's get to it.
Okay, part 1, governance and its 3 tiers. So government isn't just, one giant blob. It actually has 3 distinct organs. The legislator makes the laws. The executive implements them, like the police tracking down a cybercrime. And the judiciary ensures justice and checks power, kind of like a court deciding on a fair outcome. Keeping these 3 separate is absolutely crucial for a healthy system of checks and balances.
Now, think about a broken light bulb in your house. You don't immediately call the National Electricity Board, right? You check the local switch first. Imagine actually calling the Prime Minister because your porch light went out. No way! You don't call the head of the country for a broken local road or a flooded neighborhood street either. That is exactly why we have 3 distinct tiers: local, state, and central governance.
Moving on to Part 2, the Panchayati Raj system, focusing on rural local governance.
Okay, think about this number for a second. 1.4 billion people. That's India's population. But here is the really fascinating part. An incredible 2/3 of that population lives in rural areas, spread across more than 6 lakh villages. Managing that kind of massive scale from one single central office is literally impossible.
So, what was the fix? Well, in 1992, the 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act came along and totally transformed grassroots democracy. Formally rolling out in 1993, this was a real game changer. It created the Panchayati Raj system, basically empowering villages to make their own local decisions instead of just sitting around waiting for top-down orders.
Let's look at how that power actually trickles down. It's a 3-tier setup within the local level itself. Up at the top of the local level, you've got the Zilla Parishad handling the entire district. Drill down a bit, and the district is broken into blocks managed by the Panchyat Samiti. And finally, right at the grassroots foundation, there's the Grampanchayat managing the individual village.
All right, part 3. Let's look under the hood, inside the Grampanchayat and village governance.
Now, we have to clear something up right away because these 2 terms get mixed up all the time. The Gram Sabha? Those are the voters. Basically, any adult in the village aged 18 and older, they hold the voting power. The Grampanchayat, on the other hand, well, those are the actual leaders and representatives elected by the Gram Sabha to run things.
Let's bring this down to earth and make it real. Imagine a village named Laxmanpur, tucked near the foothills of the Himalayas, with just about 200 houses, mostly farmers. The people here have very real, everyday needs, fixing a road that washed out in a flood, getting the power back on, or maybe settling a dispute over farming land. They definitely aren't calling the central government for this stuff. They go straight to their Grampanchayat.
So who exactly is on this team handling the day-to-day? Well, the village is split into wards, and each ward elects a ward member. Together, they're led by a head chief, usually called the Sarpanch or Pradhan. But it's not just elected folks. You've also got the Panchayat secretary, or Sachief, who does the crucial admin work like setting up meetings and keeping records. Plus, the Patwari, or Lekpal, who's in charge of maintaining all those super important land ownership records.
Which brings us to Part 4, Inspiring Grassroots Leaders, the real champions of change.
And wow, these individuals have broken some massive barriers. Take the Anesh Warkamboli, a transgender person in Solapur. Back in 2017, Kambol defeated 6 other candidates to become Sarpanch, proving that at the end of the day, a true dedication to public service is what really wins votes. Or look at Bandana Bahadner. She became the first female Sarpanch from the Beel community in her village, and she's just been this incredible force, championing education, sanitation, and really pushing other women to step up and join the meetings.
Then there's Papatrao Pawar. He looked at his drought-hit village of Hiware Bazar and totally turned it around. How?
by setting up a massive rainwater harvesting model and planting over 100,000 trees. His work actually restored the local groundwater, turned the whole village green again, and even earned him a Padma Shri in 2020. Talk about proving that local leaders can literally change their community's destiny.
And to put this into perspective, across many of these local institutions nationwide, nearly 50% of the seats are actually reserved for women. 50%. This is absolutely crucial because it ensures that the voices shaping daily village life are diverse and genuinely represent the people who live there.
And finally, Part 5, Empowering the Next Generation. Because true grassroots democracy includes absolutely everyone, even the kids. Over in Sikkim, a Grampanchayat stepped up and built compound walls and safe, clean kitchens specifically for school midday meals. Meanwhile, in Rajasthan, they actually created a children's parliament. They teach 8 to 14-year-olds exactly how voting works using real-looking voter ID cards. These kinds of initiatives are so impactful that they've won international recognition, like the World Children's Honorary Award in 2001.
Now, you might be sitting there thinking this whole layered local governance thing is a totally modern invention. Well, actually, scratch that. Surprisingly, the ancient scholar Chanakya, also known as Kautilya, wrote about this exact style of decentralized, district-level governance 2,300 years ago in his famous text, the Arthashastra. So yeah, this idea has deep, deep roots.
So, what does this all mean for us? Well, whether we're looking way back at ancient India or right now at our modern-day village of Laxmanpur, structured governance is literally the thread that holds society together. It's this giant, interconnected web of laws, elected representatives, and most importantly, active citizens, all playing their part to keep the community thriving.
As we wrap up, I want to leave you with a powerful thought from the missile man of India himself, former President Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. He famously said, "If 4 things are followed, having a great aim, acquiring knowledge, hard work, and perseverance, then anything can be achieved." I think that ties just perfectly into our themes today of civic duty and working towards common community goals.
We've seen today just how powerful local participation can be, right? From planting trees to managing schools. So, my question for you is, how are you going to step up and improve your own local community today? Remember, governance isn't just something that happens to you. It's something you are an active part of. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep asking those big questions, and I'll catch you next time.